Mm.
Hello and welcome in this podcast episode. Today I'm talking to Elif Kuş Saillard. Welcome, Elif.
Thank you, Anna. Nice to be here.
Yes. We met and I've listened to a talk about you during the IDG conference, the Forum conference in Co in Switzerland, in combination with the initiatives of change. And what really, there were two things that really interested me, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you about that. That was one, you were mapping the IDG framework. You made connections in the skills, how they were connected, and how you look at understanding. But first, let's start with you, your backgrounds, because you have like a very scientific academic backgrounds. What did you study?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I am quite scientific. Um, I am my expertise, my whole academic expertise is in social science methodology, and I studied in the subfield of sociology, which is called general sociology and methodology. And my So I always studied methodological problems as a subject in itself, and also a special focus on qualitative methodologies. And there, in fact, the act of understanding is the central act to create scientific knowledge in the scientific methodology. So I was always uh, involved in designing methods, data creation, data gathering processes, or data analysis to understand deeply people in different social contexts, and to really reveal, to even to discover their problems, their meaning making, sense making processes, their own interpretation, and all these range of uh, methodologies. In fact, they use the approach called phenomenology mostly. And there, what we investigate is the lived experiences. So always, if you want to understand scientifically, if you want to understand, somehow also you are aware as a scientist that you are touching into the subjective field. So this was my background. I was a professor at Ankara University, 13 years full time, and I achieved, the position, the title. I became associate professor there. Then I moved to Istanbul, and I found that I established a qualitative research center, and there I trained thousands of researchers from very different disciplines, thanks to that special expertise, that, the methodological expertise that I have. But also there is one more thing that I can add now, which is very critical, in fact, in this. What makes me very scientist is one of the things that I have in my, yeah, career, is that the title of my PhD thesis is Computer Aided Qualitative Data Analysis. So uh, how it happened that I met thousands of researchers, and to guide them to give training, in fact, thanks to the technology involved in the process. So there are several software which already uh, the the AI, the AI they were already using this AI technology. You know, it's a big umbrella when we say AI, but the machine learning, the statistical algorithms, so uh, for the text analysis, of course. And thanks to this, yeah, this part of my career really kept me always very close to the data, very close to the empirical field. So I was always involved in data analysis. Either I was guiding researchers one-to-one or group scientific research, or me myself, more than 11 years now, I'm analyzing employee experience data uh, myself for big, large organizations based in Turkey mostly. So all this is my scientist background.
And it's kind of it sounds to me a bit I would say, how can I say it? Is like mechanical, right? So you're researching people using data analysis, and I know you from the story around IDGs, inner development. So it's a very personal idea, talking about feelings and mind and relationships. It's all um, the body, not the mind. So it sounds like almost like a contradiction, right? And you just told the story to me, but you maybe can reshare it now about your book, your new book that you're working on, how this came. And because for me, that painted a clear picture of this connection of those two.
Thank you, Erno. This is so nice way of asking these questions. So nice. Thank you. I love this. In fact, when I use the term, you know, the words like data, analysis, I think they are the changing the, you know, the a little bit the meaning. But in fact, my field of expertise, qualitative research, as I said at the beginning, they were really uh, keep focusing on understanding. So, and this was, if you are in the understanding part in the scientific methodology, in fact, you are touching all the subjective, emotional, and feeling part. And there were a group of scientists daring from the start, from the very early stage, daring to explore scientifically, to investigate scientifically, and dedicate their efforts to really create methods acceptable in science. So that's why it was a really, even in the science, this division was like, it was even a kind of polarization behind the scene for the social scientists. So a kind of, will we have this approach very technical, very objective, rational, deductive, hypothetical, deductive, whatever, or will we have this open, accepting emotions and subjectivity, and you know, it was a division like that. But so this is behind the scene what's going on in science. So I'm from the other. So I am from the part close to emotions, the full field of experiences. But still, there were some genius people who created some software to especially serve to make to to increase the quality standards for these type of researchers. That's why when I talk technology, I talk this, but they are really matching to this approach to any software is always developed through behind the scene. There is an approach. So my story, the book story, is that for the last I started in 2019 to write a book, and the title was Understand. I put that title as a call to social scientists. And the call was this: now we are in an age that artificial intelligence is really takes the stance of a subject. It's not an object, a tool anymore. It's in itself a subject in the knowledge creation process, in the scientific methodology process, methods. So my question was this: so what is left for us as humans? Are we aware of this? So there, I my answer was clear. In fact, I had the answer. So the book was a call. We have understanding in our hand. Understanding. My starting point was that understanding is a unique human act.
Mm.
This was my starting point, but now after 5 years, I finished my book, in fact, in Turkish. It's ready for publication. It's in the process. But at the end now, where I am, if you ask, the whole system, the life constitute constitute life constituting system. Sorry, the whole system, and the picture behind me is showing this entanglement. So now it is scientifically, empirically, not theoretically, empirically proven that, with experiments, proven that there is entanglement. So everything is related with everything else, that sentence. So entanglement means the two parts, whatever they are, live or not live, living, not living, it's not important, but they are entangled through information. That's incredible. So now I arrived at this point that, in fact, understanding is not a unique human, only for humans. There is some kind of connection and harmony in the systems, in the life systems, life creating systems. I can talk more about this, but there is, yeah, that was my whole learning in this journey of writing my book, in
Right.
fact,
Right.
because I moved beyond sociology. I moved beyond the social sciences. I started to check how can if understanding is an act, how can I uh, update my knowledge from other sciences, from other disciplines. So I started to read physics. I checked what's going on, what is the latest research, what are the latest theories in physics, in biology, in cognitive science. So all those came together, and I said, wow, okay, then, okay, I still keep my calling. Understanding is important. I'm calling with enthusiasm still today. But I know that the system has this, it's like factory settings of the living systems.
So how I translate this, and I think I understand what you're saying. So, but how I translate is, for example, I've been watching like videos on
Mhm.
how trees and mycelium communicate and understand what is going on in one tree and giving signals to the other tree so that they can like prepare for something that is coming, like a fungus on whatever is coming. Is that like some example of what you mean with understanding from living systems?
Perfect. Perfect example. More and more now scientifically, empirically proven. Many types of examples like you gave now. It's exactly what I mean. And there is a scientist, Antonio Damasio, and he really um, dedicated his research, and he became quite important to really show all the, in the scientific domain, I'm saying that the there is the how conscience works. What is it, or how is, how is it, he really, there is a division. Is it in the mind? Is it in the body? Is it in the heart? These dualisms, or then we divide the emotional sphere, the cognitive sphere, all these divisions. Now it's going in the right direction, not division anymore.
Hmm.
Embodied mind. And the contribution of Antonio Damasio is that he addresses that there is a deeper level, and that level is the feeling level. And there, all living and non-living beings contributing to life, sensing each other.
Hmm.
That's that's very interesting. Uh, but we humans, our problem is that we are so complex, so evolved beings that unfortunately we can easily disconnect from that. And also the whole social forms, structures, the industrial society, for example, unfortunately build upon in its only connection with certain levels, but not this deeper level. So we lost that connection, and as humanity, we are researching to
Hmm.
establish that connection again.
What I
I hope.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I follow you. And what I really, really love what you were just saying is, and also earlier, is how you let go of your beliefs. And so you've been studying this one side, academic part for like more than a decade. And then you start your book about understanding, and you let go of, almost everything that you know and look into
Perfect.
all these other fields and look at what is really understanding. So you have like this idea, understanding is uniquely human, but then you question your own thesis. You go like, is this really unique? Is it really human? I really like that part because I think, like you just mentioned, like how we lost connection to all these other things as humans. I think one of the other issues that we as humans have, or challenges we as humans have, is that we tend to stick too much on our own beliefs and have difficulty of letting go of our beliefs and looking into new things. And that's what I really, really loved at Co, for example, because embodiment is something that is a very difficult word for me to understand and to live and to, I'm not sure what it is. But I've joined this group of embodiment, and we have these meetings. And for me, that's like, okay, I don't know, but let's find out and let's see what's happening there. And I understand for a lot of people, embodiment is really important and to make the connections. And okay, I will investigate and find out what it does. So I really like that part of you and how this is um, this changed the way that you look at things and how you research things. How because you've been also teaching like thousands of researchers
Yeah,
on this,
that's
but
true.
how do you help these researchers in like, but also now you're working with like leaders to look
Mhm.
at things differently, to let go of their beliefs and to look at things differently. How do you give them your insights?
So nice, I know. Thank you. Um, in fact, I am also really grateful that it was a I I started like I know what I will say. Like I am an expert. I'm a scientist in understanding. So this is the call. I was like that. But then because it is only that what is understanding? What is the ontology? What is the epistemology? Then I move forward and real unlearning process, as you said. Then I am grateful that I experienced this. Maybe also my personal story is part of the journey also, thanks to that. And how I help researchers, or now, in fact, with this new approach. In fact, now where I am, I I keep the Turkish word for understanding, and that's Anla. And I say Anla is a methodology. And in this methodology, we have this view, the, the holistic, real holistic, and not anymore. I'm not talking anymore only for the sociological or social aspect of the, reality. So I put together as much as I can. Of course, I have my limits, but from the scientific empirical researchers, I put together in this Anla methodology, methodology of understanding now, I put together from diverse fields, from, in fact, it's also like a kind of integration effort to in somehow merging the division, going beyond division of natural sciences and social sciences. So there is an ontology putting all parts of reality together. And I now started to share my this new methodology, but for it sounds very abstract maybe, but I developed a program because thanks to this IDG framework helped me a lot to myself in my own personal journey. More than 2 years, I am very much engaged in this movement. I loved it a lot, and I have been I participated in the masterclass events in Stockholm with Peter Senge, Daniel Siegel, and Robert Keegan. That was online, but still 4 day live masterclass, and so many other groups, gatherings, and all this. And I learned also through that. I opened myself again to different fields. So what I'm trying to say that it helped me these 2 years, the real engagement and connection with IDGs and that IDG framework helped me to communicate much more concretely and make it to communicate to everybody, not uniquely scientists and exclusively, sorry.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think you listened me there. I spoke to public. It was okay. It was
Yeah.
Probably it
No,
works.
yes, 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 it was. And the thing is, well, because we have, I'm part of the team that organizes the global practitioners meetings for
Mhm.
the practitioners network, and
Mhm.
our next session in September is on understanding. So, and we've invited them to watch the section of the video of that part of where you talk about understanding in code, so that they can at least have like some idea about what you mean and what it means for us and how we could use that part. So yeah, no, yes, you were very understandable. It all related to us.
Amazing. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Amazing. And I want to add something also. When you mentioned embodiment, you said you are curious to open yourself to fully understand it. You said some part you don't understand. But if we now maybe it's time to a little bit open this word and what it really means, this understand. So in fact, it's mostly we think it's related with our cognition
Hmm.
and the thinking that we need if we feel that okay, I know it now, I got it now, I grasp, then I feel that I understood. Yes, it is true, it's not wrong, but it's not the whole story. In fact, understanding the word is consisting of two words, under and stand. And under, if you dig deep the etymology, it is coming from inter. So it is a call to a special stance and that stand in between. So what it means that, for example, just now you mentioned that embodiment is a new field, is an unknown field, but I'm curious, but I want. So then you leave your already established knowledge, already established thinking, and you dare to understand. So you
Hmm.
approach to the new. So in fact, you understand. You started understanding.
I liked it a lot. I've been reading two books, which is about, comes from anthropologists, and it's about the time in between. So,
Yes.
so you're going from this one state to the next state, but it's about the space in between where like things are chaos or you don't understand, but you say you are understand, right? You stand in between. So I see the connection now. It's making it even more valuable because I like this eliminate phase. I really enjoy that part that you are in this phase where you're not sure, you have to let go of the previous stance where you were, and you know that you have to go to the next one, but you can't get there yet. So everything is like uncertain, and there's a lot of things that you not okay, you don't know where you're going. At least you're going probably in the right direction, but and a lot of people don't understand you because they are in the old stands, and they don't see the new stands, and they don't understand what you're going through because they don't they have no clue of that.
Or exactly as you said, and in fact, they expect that the new should be seen already now where I am here. I should see it clearly. Somehow it should be predictable. It should be um, uh, like I don't know what was the word now. So that's why they search for certainty. But this is also an existential issue. Okay, no problem. But we all have this, even if we understand, when we understand, that part, that thinking is always there. That's why it is in between.
Yeah.
But then there, there is very important skill if we talk in the IDG framework. The skill needed is the courage. So courage and for me, acceptance, accepting the complexity, because there we stay in between, we open ourselves to future or to the unknown. At that point, what in the now, in the moment, what we accept is the complexity, and there we cannot wholly never grasp the whole complexity. Never. But we can be part of it. And with our actions, we can, then take the designing approach also. So we can be part of the complexity by just accepting it. So that's why I like IDG framework. There it's in the thinking dimension, under the thinking dimension, they added complexity thinking. So staying in between needs courage, but also the acceptance, which I mean, acceptance is not a passive thing that, it's, so it's the complexity thinking, accepting the complexity. So I cannot determine everything, going from deterministic view to more seeing what is emerging, letting some part, also accepting the gaps. There are always gaps, and gaps are very integral part of life and our social construction. So then accepting the gap also, and then, okay, things will emerge. And I am here, I have my intention and action for that. And the rest we will see. Yeah. Nobody can control.
Yeah. I don't know if I think I've learned so much since I've been practicing and working in the IDG field since like 2 years. And what you just described about, having these gaps and seeing what emerges. I'm also remembering what you just mentioned in the presentation in Co. You would say understanding is like I see, right? I see, yes. Right?
Yes.
And so when we were preparing the workshops for Co, we have a close team who did this together. There were often times where we didn't agree, or we had different ideas, or maybe we didn't understand what was said. And there was then a moment of silence. So that how I translate this is how I would translate it now, is that at that moment I would embody what was going on and see what was coming out. And just let's see what emerges. Sometimes I needed to say something, I wanted to say something, but other times I'm just waiting for other people to share what they felt or what happened. So for me, this accepting silence, being comfortable, and courage, right? Having courage to accept silence, the not knowing, is a very important part that we can use in life, but also in business, right? If you have like a meeting in business, accepting silence in a meeting when you're not sure what was said, or if you're not sure, you're feeling comfortable, or maybe you don't understand what was said, that you be silent and see what emerges from your body to see how you can continue.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you so much. Exactly.
I have one question that really is going on in my brain since the beginning that we started talking, right? Because you mentioned the relation, the connection between parts, like living, non-living, like all these things, right? And then you mentioned non-living, and I go like, okay, so you started your book with the idea, the understanding is making us different from AI, from this machine learning. Do you believe that machine learning can also evolve to having these connections with all other parts on existence or non-living and living?
Yes, and already.
Hmm.
I thank you for this wonderful question. In fact, it is like this. In the AI discourse that we have today, unfortunately from everywhere, from science, from, mostly, it's we have this debate and discourse that uh, either, it's like human and the machine, human versus machine, human versus AI, and there were many biases, many problems, and then a new phase now they try to introduce, which they call human-centric AI. In fact, all this is there is a trap in because behind what I see is the dualistic thinking. So it's not either me or the machine, or me or this computer, or me or this, uh, of this cup, whatever it is. In fact, because thanks to I studied physics a lot, and I'm not physicist, but what I learned from there is that everything is related with everything else, and we are living in a web of interaction. And there is what is very interesting. There is no space, there is no time. This is crazy. First, I heard there is no time. I was like, what? And then I heard there is no space. What? What we have? In fact, we have the web of interactions, and each interaction is activating something and building the space and time. So everything is construction. And in this construction process, everything is included, the thing, There is a wonderful book I can advise, a scientist, philosophy of scientist, James Ladyman. And Ladyman, I am sure James, his name was probably James. The name of the book is this: Everything Must Go. So everything separated, must go. And there is this. It's also a call from him to all the scientists. There is a movement now in science. There is an association. There is a new gathering, a science of science. So with this new technology and with all this new paradigm, of course, science is moving. That's good. I'm very happy to see that. So his call is this: all what we know empirically now from different fields, from physics, from chemistry, biology, that the base is not something solid. The reality is not at all something solid. But we work so much in each moment. Constantly we work, constantly we are interacting, and we are fabricating the reality. And it is not only the social reality. As a sociologist, I was only focusing on the fabrication, the construction of social reality. But now I know that exactly that construction process is valid for the, the natural world, for the whole life, in fact, then it becomes. Social life is only part of it.
Hmm.
So if everything is interaction, I need this cup. It is also an agent, as I am agent as a human. So in this view, now where I arrived, now it's more and more scientifically accepted that the agency is not uniquely human. Agency is for each object, each being, each becoming in this whole field of interaction. And
You
and
you you are blowing my mind.
there is okay, I can just say the term now, then people maybe those who will listen, they can search later. The term is the poetic agency.
Poetic or project? What?
No, not poetic, poetic.
Poetic.
Poetic agency. If they search this term, they will
Okay.
see the latest scientific view on this explanation and the research.
I will put a link in the show notes.
I can share also with you so
Good.
that
Yes.
there is a from Amsterdam University, um, Federica Russo. She is really now pioneering to highlight the role of the technology in the knowledge creation, and there not anymore we cannot claim that humans are the only subjects. In fact, that the term subject in itself may be the problem. We need to see the agency. So without interaction, there is no fabricating of anything, and interaction always has different agents involved. And of course, AI is part of it.
Hmm.
And in fact, in this, it's a very democratic view, you know. If we have this view, we don't need to. I was very afraid, I know. I was so afraid. In 2015, you should see me. I was like reading futurists. I was like, oh, we humans, that's why, you know, I arrived at humans, you need to understand, you know, like I was so anxious. But now, thanks to this view, I say, okay, nobody, no thing has control of anything. This is a whole system of interaction. I don't need to afraid anything or any human, any AI.
Okay, hold on. Stop. It's, you are doing exactly the opposite of what I expect, right? So because you say we can't and we don't control anything, therefore I'm not afraid. I I think most people say we cannot and do control anything, so I am afraid. How did you get to the stance that you are not afraid because of this?
Okay, because if somebody can control, or you know, it's a real if in the power game, it requires also big effort. It's not only one person, it's not only one family, you know, sometimes the, you know, yeah, so it's not so it's a whole web of interaction. You need to work a lot to create that interaction web. So this is really, this means that if not me able to control anything, but it's not, it's also the most richest or the most powerful, this person or that is, it's the same. We are at the same impact level. It's nobody can control 100% anything. So everybody, even the richest and the most powerful, everybody needs to work constantly, every moment, fabricating what they want to see, so-called the meaningful life. What is the meaning for them? So it is a whole construction process. Of course, this is for sure that I know now, but I know that, of course, there are some power, centered power is centered in some groups, or then maybe they can really manipulate. They have manipulation power and all this. Okay, this I know, but it is not making me stop there. I am optimist. Why? Because also thanks to the Daniela Meadows, the systems thinker, the systems scientist. She talks about the leverage points. And also I made analysis of data from coming from organizations more than 11 years. And I analyzed myself, of course, using software, but I was involved interacting with, millions of words, millions of words. There I found a model also myself. In that model is what I call organization of experience. How it comes that an experience becomes an organized thing. And in fact, and then I call it meaningful organization model, meaningful experience model, sorry. Anyway, where I come. All this came together, then I became, I became free of my fear. The thing is that how powerful some people or how powerful some groups, but it doesn't matter. Elif, I don't have such power. What can I do? For example, in terms of sustainability. So big problems. What will happen? I can't change my what I do every day, my choices. It doesn't matter. No, it matters. When I was listening many people, it matters. Your every act is matters. I was like, they are romantic people. I promise. I was like that. No, it's I needed a scientific proof. And
Mm.
now we have that. I have my scientific coming from my study, together with what Daniela Meadows said. Yes, there are systemic leverage points. Some moments are more critical. If you touch there, if you make decision, this is the podcast. So in those critical moments, if you make the right decision, what means right is that you're aligned with your purpose.
Hmm.
Then then things really can change. You can have systemic impact.
Mm. I'm so
So
happy I asked you here. I'm learning so much. I so sorry to interrupt, but
oh, please.
because I saw one of the posts of We All that you promoted, the We All Alliance, and I know them too, um, and they talked about the GDP, right?
Mhm.
So this is a construct of power, I could say,
Mhm.
that is like let's a world that we imagine is true, right? So the GDP we imagine that is the truth,
Exactly.
but it's a dangerous imagination in my world, in my perspective.
Mhm.
Um,
At least it is known today.
yeah. So how would you say that we should I want to say attack, but it sounds too heavy, that we change this reality, this thinking. As an example, you mentioned sustainability, but I also think like GDP and like economics are very related to sustainability, right? They're heavily connected in my world. How would you say that we need to do this, or we can?
Okay, very concrete actions maybe we can I think, that really can have impact. For example, large organizations, now in today's world, we have everything. We have more than we need to create a change. I mean, to make the change. So we have more. That's also a problem. That's
Hmm.
also contributing to the complexity. So starting point can be, say, not searching for new things anymore, a new word, a new approach, a new tool, we don't need a new word. Please just digest what we already have. Don't compete for the new, so-called the new. And for example, very, very concrete thing, that there is a sufferance in the organizational world. You know, people are there is a big meaning loss. It's also related with the meta crisis that we are in, poly crisis and meta meaning crisis, I call. So in the organizational world, they are so much still today. They are rushing into meeting from one meeting to another. And I say like this, how can the small actions, which can be the leverage, which can have the leverage, effect, that, for example, the silence example that you gave, just suddenly, don't be afraid, take the courage to be silent. Show up with your silence. Show up with your feelings and check the feelings, the feeling level. I like the check-in. So check-in, make more check-in in each moment, and especially in the critical moments of,
Hmm.
for example, I listened many, many workers in factories and in the line production. When the line has a problem, they are so much stressed, because there are the production goals that they have to achieve, and the line has a problem, then what will happen? And they know they should never intervene the machine without stopping it, but they are so much stressed, they do it to achieve the production goal. So in those critical moments, for example, just checking in. For example, one worker said clearly that in those moments I am stepping back.
Hmm.
In those moments, I'm saying it's too much stress I'm pushing now. I need to stop. And then he said, he said with his own wisdom, own words. I'm now not even able to exactly repeat how simple and nice he expressed himself. So, and there, for example, he courageously, for example, this kind of uh, action, courageous action, can really, in that critical moment, can make a difference. And there, if one time you say no, next time it is in the collective memory, it is in the collective cognition. So it becomes, I can also say no. Yes, it was good to say no in that moment. Now it's time for me in this moment to say no. I hope I answered
Oh
correctly.
yes. Um, I've learned already so much of you, and I know I can learn even much more. And also the listeners, I'm sure they can learn much more from you. But I want to conclude this conversation. I had a question. Um, But I need to rephrase it, but I just don't know yet how. But the question was, do you know when your English version of this book will be published? But then I thought, yeah, that's a question of time and it will emerge. So I can't ask the question. So so the
So
question
nice.
was gone.
Erno, you're so nice. And in fact, I thank you a lot. As you said, this is a wonderful conversation. I feel so nice now. With, thanks to your listening and thanks to your questions, it's an interaction. Thank you for that. And the question, it's a wonderful question also. I'm not anymore pressuring myself, but I really want to transmit my message. So that's why it's important for me. Maybe what can I do that now, you reminded me, maybe I can ask help. And now you know it, and maybe I can share in the group also, so that uh, so that with the help in a shorter time, in a shorter period, this book in English can become true reality.
Yes, yes. So my promise and also request is at least once the book is out, we have a new conversation
Thank you.
and we continue this because I think I feel that's better. I feel this information, this knowledge that you're sharing is so important for us in this time at this moment. Um, and I see this in the space of people who work with the inner development goals, but there are so many more people out there that are looking for like clues or ideas or suggestions how they could change and how and what they can do. So, even those small practical things you mentioned, like the check-in, I love the check-in, right? So that's it's so easy and it's also easy to forget, right? So it's easy to not do it as well because we're like feeling rushed and have the next meeting coming up and we're feeling like urgent and it's not it's not important. Like this conversation, it's a matter of um, having the attention and um, really listening to it to each other and try to feel and understand between my thoughts and your thoughts and ideas and see what I can learn to move to a new idea or a new knowledge. So, Elif, I thank you very much for now and for
Most
spreading your
welcome.
knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you, Arno. Your help, your support is very well appreciated. Thank you. I'm grateful.